my name is Akusia Domayo. Welcome once again to the Akwaaba Podcast. If you've been following us for some time now, you realize that Akwaaba is really going hard on real estate in Ghana. Today we have one of the top players in real estate here in Ghana, and we can't wait to have our conversation. We'll be having so many conversations about the building process, right? We've spoken to you about find the right location for your land, how to get affordable lands here in Ghana, how to go about getting a building here in Ghana. But today we are going to the grassroots when the plan is actually made. So I'm so excited. We have with us here Mr. Charles Kumsin Emisa from Multibuild, and we're going to have a lovely conversation. So I'm not going to talk too much. I'll let Charles here introduce himself again, and then he'll tell us a little bit about Multibuild, what he does here at Multibuild, and what Multibuild do in general. Thank you so much. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Agusia. So yes, I'm Charles Kunsin. I'm a professional architect. I work at Multibuild. I've been here for 11 years.
Wow.
I joined as an architect somewhere in 2014. And I've grown through the ranks. Currently, I'm the project director.
Beautiful.
Handling all consultancy and construction projects. So Multibuild is a planning, engineering, construction firm. We do works in architecture services. We also do construction services as well. We are into a bit of supplies and generally an advisor in the real estate industry. Yeah.
All right. So you said that you're an architect, right?
Yeah.
What influenced you to get into the space of architecture? You could have been a medical doctor.
Yeah, right. So yes, I was science student, hailing from St. Augustine's.
Hey! Okay, my life as St. Augustine student is okay. I want that to myself here.
Really?
Please, you can continue.
Okay, so a typical science student going to K University, the plan was to do either engineering or medicine, pharmacy, as you are saying. But for some twist of fate, we ended up in architecture. We didn't really like it in the beginning, but I think we are in here for a reason. So yes, that's how I ended up in architecture. It had never been a dream from being a child. It came up along the way, but we grasped the opportunity, and here we are.
That's very beautiful. Yeah. So today, like I said, we're going to have a conversation about building, and we're not just talking about you getting to buy your land or getting to get your building when it's finished, but we're talking about the grassroots right from the beginning, right? I'll go straight into it and ask you, what are some of the interesting mistakes that you see most Ghanaians do? When I say interesting, I'm trying to be very polite. But when I say interesting, I mean some of the most ridiculous mistakes you see Ghanaians do when they plan that they want to build.
So practicing for this number of years, firstly, every project manager will tell you has 3 parameters: scope, time, and cost, budget. The biggest mistake I see clients do is not cutting their quote according to their size. We receive clients all the time telling you about their wonderful schemes that they want to build, but it doesn't match their budget. And so we have a phenomenon of projects that are always stuck or uncompleted, as the layman will say. It is mainly sometimes because the client has got some money in the bank, but has not done a lot of research as to how much the building is going to cost. And it is also a mistake sometimes the architects do. Architects want to blow their mind.
Yeah.
So if you get a client who is dreaming of so many things, an indoor swimming pool, overhead swimming pool, a typical architect would like to blow his mind and give you a nice design. But the question is, can the client build it?
Okay.
And that is one of the biggest mistakes that is happening. Aside even being able to build, the question is, can the client maintain it? Because you can have a nice building, about 4 or 5 terraces, every bedroom with a bathroom, a big hall. Sometimes you want to see your hall from those who put up the 2-story, but they want to see the hall the living room from the first floor.
Mm,
Have you thought of the air conditioning cost of such design?
true.
So it is not just about even designing and putting up the building, but most importantly, can you maintain the building after it has been put up? Some have big families, and sometimes they want to. I've worked with a client he has 5 children, or I think 4 children, wants to design that all the children will have their separate rooms, have their separate bathrooms. Because yes, he wants to let all the children feel good. By the end of the day, when the children start going to school, when they start marrying, you will not have them in the house again. It's left with just you and your wife. Are you able to maintain this building? Are you able to sweep, pay the electricity bills? So most times what I see is people start moving out from their homes.
Wow.
And they either rent it out, sell it out, and go and get a smaller building.
Wow. You've said something very interesting. What people fail to remember, what people fail to understand is that the bigger your house, the more expensive it is to run the house.
Yes.
Not just like the building, but you are done building. You're not thinking of like electricity bill. You're not thinking of like when maintenance, things have to maintain.
Painting.
That's very interesting.
You have a big lawn to be mowing. Who does all of this work?
I never think about that too. I just think about, the house is big, so it will be so expensive building a house. But I always feel like when you're done building a house, that's where the cost ends.
Yeah, the operational fees, especially if your house is not a commercial place. If it's a commercial building like the banks, the supermarkets, they do commerce in the building. So they are getting some revenue to run the place. But your house, nobody pays anything to enter your house, to visit you. And the running cost is solely on you, the client. So sometimes we want to draw the client's attention to some of this. Some will take your advice. Some have actually come with very huge briefs, but yes, per advice, they scale it down. They realize that no, I'm making a mistake. Some will not take your advice and will go on. Either they don't complete the building, or even when they complete,
it's not functional.
They struggle to maintain it.
So when someone comes to you that, hello, I'm here at Multibuild and I want you to help me create a plan for my house and all those things, what's the first thing that you tell your clients?
So first of all, we don't build castles in the air. It was a quotation we used to have here when we were growing up. We don't build castles in the air. So first of all, you need land. Just as you said in your introduction, you have advised people on how to acquire land. So before you come to the architect, you should at least have land for us to build on. Yes, we need to know where the land is. Because the location of the land is very key to any architect. Is it close to the sea? Is it in the forest somewhere?
Why is that key? I don't understand.
Yes, because if you have bought a house or land close to a river body or a water body, you want to look at views, especially.
Yes.
You want to be able to access. Access is also key, because at the end of the day, you cannot put up a building that you cannot access.
What do you mean by access? Like you can't drive to the place? Okay.
You need to. Also, if zoning, especially, because if you are buying land, I don't know who took them through acquisition of land, but every land in Ghana is zoned for a purpose. So when you go to the municipal assembly and you bought land that is not meant for residential, it becomes a problem.
You know the thing? I was very shocked when I found out like there are lands here in Ghana that are not like residential because I felt like in Ghana we don't abide. People build anywhere. Do we have stuff like that here in Ghana?
There's the Land Use and Special Planning Authority in Ghana that zones the land according to their use in Ghana. So there are lands that are allocated for, let's say, education purpose, schools.
Really?
Yes, for markets, maybe even a cemetery. So you should be careful when buying land. Your land could end up in a cemetery. And it becomes a challenge when you are going for your building permit. Yeah, so we need to know your land.
Okay.
We need to pay a visit. Sometimes the cultural setting in which your building is located is key. You go into a place where almost every building is a single story, and you are thinking of raising a 4-story, it becomes out of context.
Really?
So context is very key. Neighborhood context is key for us. So we want to see your land. We want to visit your land. We want to have an idea of what you want in the building. That's what we call the brief. Like visiting a lawyer, telling him what your problem is. Yes. Sometimes you get clients saying, "Oh, I've gone to see my friend's house. I want the same thing." It is quite problematic because no two clients are the same. No two projects are the same. So maybe we want a 3-bedroom house. Your friend also may have had a 3-bedroom house, but his needs are quite different. So we need to understand you, what you want. And also sometimes as an architect, I keep telling people that it's like taking your cloth to the seamstress. Depending on the occasion. If it is a funeral, the style is different. If it is a wedding, you want to show some skin. The design is going to be different. So we are not just doing a plan for you, but we are designing to suit your need. And any smart architect, by talking to the client, we pick up all of these things. We know what their taste is. Then there's a process we go through, submit to you some design here and there. There's some iteration, we go back and forth, and we settle on a design for you.
This is really amazing. So is there a time that somebody has come to you with, now I'm learning something, a brief, right? Someone has come to you with a brief, they had like an idea in mind and they went back with something completely different because you advised them against it?
Oh, yes. This one, I think, even a relative, a cousin of mine who is staying outside the country, he came with a huge brief, I think about 8-bedroom house. I'm sure he's in the UK, he's got some pounds he wants to put up. But he's married there with their wife, who is not even Ghanaian, so their children don't even have any connection to Ghana. So I told him, I asked him why he wanted it in the first place. So I think he's doing some kind of missionary work, so he feels that once a while he will come to Ghana and he will come with people following him. And I told that, it's very expensive to build. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
So don't put up a building. You are not in Ghana. When I was talking to him, I think you're not even been to Ghana in like 3-4 years.
Well,
your children don't plan to come to Ghana. Even if you be visiting Ghana, it will be max once a year.
Yeah, maybe not.
Do you need to put up an 8-bedroom house and go and stay in the UK whilst the house is there? It's just a caretaker staying in the house,
8-bedroom,
misusing electricity, and also sending you the bills to pay.
That's you have to pay.
The caretaker will not pay for these bills.
Yeah.
So yes, it happens often. We try to convince the client that sometimes they come with all these days access to social media, Pinterest, Instagram. They've seen lovely stuff, a building with so much glass. So I said initially, a swimming pool overhead. They need to understand the technical information on all of this, how it will affect construction, and also even the cost of it, the maintenance of it. If you drive through most of like East Legon where we are, most of the swimming pools people had in their homes some time ago, there are no more. Because it's expensive to maintain a swimming pool.
Really?
Yes, it is. So I keep telling clients, well, if you are not really that of a swimmer, because that kind of lifestyle, and I will get this by talking to the clients, most of our lifestyle these days in Accra, the family is out early in the morning and comes late.
Yes.
Even on Saturdays, they are out.
Up
so what time do you get to use the swimming pool that you have put in your house? Some people want the tennis court, yes. But you should understand that all these things, people have them in the hotels, people have them, they pay to use them. If you put them in your house, nobody's going to come and pay to use the swimming pool. So, as I said initially, you're going to take care of all these running costs.
How is it expensive to have a swimming pool? You've dug the hole, you've done it. So I'm assuming that it's expensive building it and put the water in it. So how is it expensive to now maintain it?
You need to replace the water once in a while. There's a pump. There are some mechanical installations in the pool that keeps the water running. Once in a while, you need to be maintaining. Them. The tiles get dirty after a while. Somebody has to get into the water. You need to take out the water, clean it. This is all. You need to be doing this. Any swimming pools that for 1 to 3 months, you should be doing these things to keep the water fresh because it could also be a means of spreading diseases as well.
That's true.
So you need always to be maintained, putting in the chlorine. All this is money.
Mm.
So if you are not really Michael Phelps, who is swimming for Olympic Games and really need it at home, for me, sometimes I think that you can always drive to a hotel with your kids, go and swim, come back home. And it's even sometimes more fun than having it at home. Unless you really, really have need for it. Other than that, sometimes we try to let them understand. Maybe the client really has need for it. Why not? Sometimes you explain to them, they understand. And they're like, okay, yeah, what you are saying is right. And they change their mind.
That's amazing. Is there a time that you've worked on a building project that it didn't come out as you had envisioned? And how did you go about that kind of situation?
Okay. Yeah, so one particular project, we always say the client is always right. So this client is always making changes. Okay, we had envisaged the design on paper, we have drawn it out. And anytime this client comes to site, he's making a change. And he's not even taking your advice. Okay, so for example, we have set a room height to 3 meters. Now the client comes in and says that no, the room height is too short for me. Let's add on. These have technical there are technical limitations. It can be done, but it will come with a cost. It will come with some redesign of what we have already done. I went to site one day. We had designed for a swimming pool. Just as I was saying, we tried to convince him, he didn't listen. He gets there, he says that no, the swimming pool is too small for me. I want it bigger. So he almost doubles the size of the swimming pool. So now you get to site, and what you have designed and what you are looking at on site, there's a big difference. So uninspirational. What did I do about it? I had to run away from the project. Yes, because at the end of the day, he's doing a lot of changes that can even have technical
Implications.
Yes, implications. Yes, and he's not also using a very good contractor. So you go to site, you tell the contractor to do A, you turn around and he has done B. You complain to the client, and it's clear that the client and the contractor are kind of close, and that decision had been discussed already. So your advice is not being taken. So something like that, the best thing, sometimes professionally you need to flee. Yes, you need to flee. You don't keep your signature on the project.
You drew my attention to something about like constructor and then the architect and then the client relationship, right? For a very long time, the role of the architect was, let's say, hidden. Should I put it that way, right? Like most Ghanaians who are building homes will just go and speak to the contractor right away, and there's not really the architect who is involved. How do you, as an architect, able to balance your relationship with the constructor that you are working with? Because what you've designed, the constructor should be able to bring it to reality. So how do you manage that kind of relationship?
So the problem is the construction industry is highly unregulated.
What do you mean by that?
So you don't need a special license to be a contractor in Ghana.
That's true.
Unlike for me as an architect, that I need to go through school, write professional exams before I get the contract. People are building with no license. There's some sort of regulation at the Ministry of Works and Housing that requires that they have tried to classify contractors, but it is usually for government projects. But there are a lot of private projects going around. And these contractors, when you even give them drawings, they are not able to interpret them. Also because they don't have enough technical and vocational training. So it is a key thing, a key problem that we have in the system. So you have a drawing with them and they don't even look at it at a certain point. So many times I go to client, the carpenters are roofing the structure and they are not even looking at
what you've
drawn. Because they will tell you that we've done this for for so many years. Sometimes they even feel they have more experience than they think you just have good sense. And they have the technical sense. Yes, so sometimes when you are even on site and you are telling them to do this and that, they will not. Sometimes they will pretend they are listening to you. When you leave their site and you come back, they would have done what they wanted to do. Okay, and all of this is cost to the client. If we are working in and these are very informal sectors where if it's a formal sector like you're dealing with a corporate client who has given the architect a lot of power to check the contractor, you can issue your instructions. If he doesn't do it, he's not paid.
Yeah.
But most times, this construction that is ongoing, there's a lot of informality, and it's very difficult to. If sometimes even the clients don't even keep the architect on for the whole process. Okay, immediately they take their designs and their drawings away. That is the last time you hear from them. Unless they have a challenge on site. That is when he remembers that yes,
An architect.
and you call the architect. Yes. So that is one of the problems we face. And,
So okay, no, you can continue.
Yeah. So then one of the things the law must ensure is, for example, for a certain scale of a project, the client and the contractor cannot proceed with the work until the building professionals, like you should show that they are building professionals on the project. There's actually no law that mandates that or forces the client to do that. So that's why can we have all of these problems in the system.
I mean, when you were saying something, this is just to clear my curiosity, right? I've always thought I hear like constructor and I hear building engineer. I'm like, what's the difference?
Okay.
What's the difference?
Okay, so we have the stakeholders actually in the project. The main ones I would say are the client, the contractor, and the building professionals. The building professionals, we have the architect, we have the engineers. In fact, even with the engineers, there are several of them. You have the electrical engineer, you have the civil engineer. The civil engineer could be a structural engineer or sometimes even a drainage engineer. We have did I mention mechanical already? We have mechanical, electrical. Usually people will call them the building service engineers.
Yeah.
These are the main engineers that we work with. Sometimes we have the land surveyors who are sometimes referred to as geometric engineers. They all have their roles they play. Then we have the quantity surveyors. They actually look at the design and are able to tell the client that this your design will cost you X amount.
Yeah.
So, as I said earlier, if the quantity surveyor tells you that the building project will cost you, let's say, 1 million Ghana cedis, and you check your lifestyle, your earnings, and maybe even a loan or a mortgage that you're able to access from your financier, and it cannot get to that 1 million, then you have to discuss that with your architect and see how you can scope down. So the contractor actually is different from the engineers. Just that these days the technology is being used interchangeably.
Okay.
There are some engineers who are actually building
Yeah.
as well. There's this design build now in the system where the one who did the design is also building. So sometimes you can hear it interchangeably, but when you hear it, you just have to ask, what engineer are we referring to? Are you referring to the electrical engineer who is responsible for this lighting, power, or the mechanical engineer who is responsible for air conditioning, plumbing systems in the building? Yes.
So as an architect, do you need to have like basic knowledge in engineer before you draw?
Yes, you need some basic skill in that. You are not really responsible for the detailing of it.
Okay.
But I should be able to tell the engineer, structural engineer, that I am not comfortable with column or how you call a pillar sitting in this place. I should be able to tell the electrical engineer that I want this number of lights in this space. So the electrical engineer will now do his design and decide on the wattage of lights to put there.
Okay.
I should also design, thinking in mind where all my plumbing pipes are, because the truth is that when engineers come into the picture, when you have done your design, for them it's about functionality.
Yeah.
So even if they don't mind passing pipes through your living room, because it's just taking water out. So for him, he's not so aesthetic minded. Yes. So as an architect, it's very good to have a basic idea of how these systems work, so that when you bring in the engineers, they will they will just follow with your concept.
Yeah.
They will not introduce something new on their own.
To distort your design.
Exactly.
You said something about functionality, right? So I'll say that I want to ask you a question, because before you said functionality, beginning of the conversation, you were like, sometimes an architect would want to blow your mind, like they want to like throw something, be like, hey, right? So I want to ask you, how do you, as an architect, balance functionality, creativity, and then regulations, right? Because I should assume that there are certain structures that it's regulated on how you go about it, right? So that's what I'm asking. So how do you make sure that your creativity is not so crazy that is within regulations, right? And at the same time, it's also functional. It's not something that is just there as a white elephant.
It's always a struggle balancing these three. For me as an architect, function is key. You cannot have a beautiful building which is not functioning. So you have a studio, for example, for you that are into media, a studio that when you enter, everybody feels very hot in there. There are echoes all around. When you talk, you can hear yourself and all of that. So we try to explain to the client that function is key. When we were in architecture school, there was one key phrase: form follows function. What it means that function comes before the form. Actually, we deal with the form. So you may have, sometimes I see buildings which look very nice, appealing on the outside, but they are not functional. They are not functional. So as an architect, you have to try to balance these things. It's art and science, basically. In architecture school, we tell you that architecture is art and science. If the building has all the arts nice and it is not functioning properly, we have a problem. So as an architect, when you receive the brief, you talked about regulation. For example, if you are doing a hospital scheme, there are certain tight regulations you cannot. The size, the width of corridors to use are all regulated.
Wow.
Yes, so the type of doors to use are all regulated. So you really have to take the building code, look at it, the building regulations, depending on the scheme. For example, if you are designing a filling station for a client, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, have their own regulations that regulate construction. If we have to do with a bank, the Bank of Ghana that regulates banking has regulations that a bank must meet. So it's a matter of combining all of these to make sure that you have a befitting building for your client. But you can't compromise any of them.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And my next question would be that when working in the building industry here in Ghana, what would you say is the most predominant challenge? Is it finding skilled labor? Or is it finding the right materials? Or is it working within stiff regulations?
Our challenges are many. Yes, we face as building professionals are many. Firstly, I would say access to skilled labor is also a challenge. Over the years, Ghana has not paid a lot of attention to our TVETs. If I say TVETs, technical vocational education. Okay, so most of the labor force we have on projects, if you really want very good tilers, very good painters, carpenters, sometimes you may have to look outside.
Wow, really?
Yes. And most of these guys are coming from Togo. So I've engaged one carpenter who is coming from Togo and asked him what makes them like a preferred choice. What does he think? And he was telling me in Togo, they take their technical vocational education very seriously.
Wow.
Yes, so you just cannot come out saying I'm a carpenter or I'm a mason without going through that strict education. But it's something the government is doing now. I'm seeing the government investing a lot into TVET
Really?
now, yes. Even as Multibuild, we are consultants for a Center of Excellence project in KTI, Kumasi Technical Institute, where they are building. It's function is to be for green technologies.
What's
And-
green technologies?
Oh, you are talking about solar, you are talking about all of this stuff for, yes, you know, we don't really have people who are trained in solar. Most of them are coming from outside. So government is trying to do this, to do this things now. Yeah. So labor is a big challenge for us. The other thing I also see is access to capital. Okay, contractors don't have it's that easy to get capital to do their projects. Yes, and most of the projects that are stalling is because maybe contractors, they have gone for loans to do projects and the client is not paying. And their monies are locked up with the client. The client is also not paying because maybe he expected some money from the banks or a loan or whatever that is also not coming, or his business is not doing as expected. So he's also not able to pay. Yes. So most times it becomes a challenge. And it is even worse when the client did not take your advice, as I said from beginning, to be sure that he can build what he can pay for. Yes, it becomes much of a challenge. So I would say access to labor and finance. Another one too, maybe I will talk about briefly, is the standards. We hardly enforce building standards in this country. So you travel to Europe and you may not be able to charge your phone because all their sockets are the 2-pin round ones.
Yes.
But even in this office, you can count 3 different or 4 different types of sockets.
But why is it so important? Like, I just don't get it. I'm like, why is it so important that they use that particular kind of...
It's standardization. I think it's a mindset trying to let you know that this is what we do in this country. You just cannot bring in anything. And it helps them to check what is coming into the system. But if you have a situation where you have about 4 different types of sockets in the system, how do you know how to enforce?
Exactly.
So it's good to stick to one. Now, even these days, the iron rod reinforcement that are coming, required iron rods, is the sizes that we are not getting the sizes exactly as we want.
Wow.
Yeah, so enforcement of these standards is also becoming a problem for us. Yeah.
Wow, nice. And I would say that, like, we are moving straight from the challenges. I wanted to ask, right? All of a sudden, I'm working in my neighborhood. I live after Community 25.
Okay.
So it's still like quite a new community. The buildings are now coming up.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm working within my area, and all of a sudden I'm seeing, like, is it open roof? I don't know what the name is, right? You know, the roof, closed roof, no cover. I don't know what the name is, but you can't see the roofing. It's
Okay.
like a box.
Yeah.
What's the
What's some
name?
called a hidden roof?
Hidden roof. Oh God! And I was saying open roof. Sorry. Hidden roof,
Yeah.
right? So all of a sudden, all the houses I'm seeing in my area are like hidden roofs. Okay, and it got me thinking: is it that? What are the trends that we use in designing here in Ghana, right? We are moving straight to culture here, right? That's what my question is directed to. Does the Ghanaian culture influence the type of design that you come up with, or does the African culture influence the kind of design that we come up with? Or do you think that as a country we copy really blindly because our culture can't really be seen in the structure that we build up, we put up? And this even influences the materials that we use as well, right? It's the sun comes out small and your room is burning, right? Do you think as a nation should start thinking of what suits us best when it comes to design, what suits us best when it comes to materials, or because I feel like we that's what I think, right? I could be wrong, but I feel like we go in there and we adopt the culture of the West completely, even when we are setting up our buildings.
Yes. So if we it's not only Community 25. If you take a walk on our street, you will see various design types. So your question is right. Do we have a cultural identity when it comes to...
We don't, like, okay, I think we don't, but maybe I'll be wrong.
It's a very subjective thing. I also agree with you that we need to set an architectural identity for Ghana. Sometimes people travel to some countries just because architecture is even a way of tourism.
Yeah.
If you go to countries like Egypt, if you see the kind of architecture, you know that you are in Egypt. But Ghana, we are yet to have one. So gone are the days when you see building designs with nice courtyard systems. They had reasons for doing that, and courtyards are very important when you are talking about sustainability. Okay, they even serve as meeting points, filtration of air, and all of that. But these days, people even hardly design with courtyards. This hidden roof concept, yes, there's a lot of social media, Pinterest, you see a lot of these. It is nice to have, but my caution mostly for such projects is detail it right and get the right contractor to build it for you. If you leave it to any unskilled person to do such construction for you, you may have troubles, or you will have troubles. So yes, you can expose your roof. So I'm sure what you are asking about is expose. You can expose your roof. It gives you some because the hidden roofs come with sometimes some maintenance issues. Yes, you may have to, because it's a slab and it's exposed to the weather. Concrete in science, it expands, contracts. So after a while, you will have cracks, which may end up you having leakages. So once a while, you have to be maintaining them. Somebody actually has to climb onto the roof and go and apply some waterproofing. Sometimes sometimes if you're not careful, be checking on those roofs. You will see that plants have started growing.
Yes.
Because you've used sand.
It's absolutely nice, right? That no two ways about it. But I asked this to say that I feel like when it comes to architecture in Ghana, it's always in trends, right? So one time people were putting up very high roofs, right? Next time we're doing hidden roof. Next time we're doing hidden roof.
The trend will change again.
The trend will change again, and it's like we don't really have any identity with the architecture that we put out when we are building our homes. Because there are some places like when I'm watching a movie, right? I can watch this movie and be like, this movie was acted in. They don't have to open their mouth, right? I can just watch it, even if it's on mute. I know this movie was acted in London. I know this movie is giving me those Scandinavian countries vibe, right? Just by looking at the architecture. So that's why I actually asked this. But you said something about sustainability. Is that a conversation we're having here in Ghana when it comes to building?
Yes, these days there's a lot of talks on sustainability. Yes, because one, we need to reduce operational costs of our buildings. Okay, you should not go into a space where if you do not put on the light, you cannot function. That is expense on the client. You should look at ways of harvesting water. Rainwater, especially.
Really?
Yes. Because most of the rain, we have rain 24, like most times of the year we have rain. And we have to find a way to store some of this rainwater, maybe filter it for other purposes. The sun is always shining. What are we doing about
solar?
Yes. Another thing about sustainability is embodied carbons, which we need to look at again. We are doing a lot of concrete works, okay, which has high carbon, how do we say it? What's the word for this? It has a lot of carbon in it.
Really? Is it harmful to us, or is it not harmful? Because
carbon is always when people are talking about depletion of the ozone layer and all of that, and release of carbons, yes. So we need to go back to study our materials again. And this one falls directly in the Building Research Institute. You know, we have Building Research Institute of Ghana.
Never knew that.
Where they do research into innovative ways of building. Yes. Wood is one material that uses that has very less carbon in them, yes. So we need to start exploring the use of all of these materials as we build. Sometimes even how your building is positioned, you were talking about being in a room that is very hot. Or yes, because one thing we learned in architecture school is, well, we knew it already, but we didn't know it applied to our design until architecture school. Yeah, the sun rises from the east, sets in the west.
I am a big testament of that. Good, like my room.
Yes,
I'm always laughing because my mom is my mom built our space, right? And she would always laugh about it that I shouldn't be complaining about sun in my room because this house was drawn on the floor.
Okay.
Like so
There was no.
so my uncle came one day and was like, "This is how you are building it." I was there, like this is not she's seeing it, and I was there. He came with his hand. He didn't use a stick like with his hand. Was like, "This is how we build it. Those are the bedrooms we did." So my room, my part of the house, right? My sister's room is very chill.
Okay.
But my part of the house is always hot. It's so hot when you touch the wall, you can feel the heat, right? Yeah. That's because where my window is, I have two windows, one here, one there. And when the sun rises, it starts from one side of my window. So heat straight into my room. Yeah. And when the sun is setting, it now moves to the other side of my window. So whether the sun is coming up or is going down, there's always like so much heat in my room. No air. No air.
No.
And this is supposed to be like the architect thinking about it.
Yes. So your building must respond to the environment.
Interesting.
Yes, the direction of the sun is key for us. Just as you are a living witness, so I don't need to preach for long.
Yeah.
Yes, so the sun rises from the east, sets on the west. So if you open windows at this part of your house, it's not that you cannot do it, but there are ways of going about it. You can shade it appropriately. There are appropriate ways of shading it so that the weather, the effect of the sun will not be that will have a great impact in your room. Yes, you are looking at the wind direction. It's also key for us. You want to be sure that your rooms are well aerated, as you are saying. And I'm sure growing up, we were told southwest monsoon wind, northeast trade wind. These are all things that we use. So buildings must be environmentally responsive, especially when you go to a site and there are trees on the site. You just don't go cutting the trees because they have real purpose. Yes, I've dealt with one mason who just wants to cut every tree he sees on the side. And when I say no, he doesn't understand why I'm saying that you should keep the trees. Yeah, so all these are discussions that are going on these days because research will show you that the building industry, contributes close to 40% of the carbons in the world. Yes, the building industry.
That'd be very true because I mean, if my room, if I had access to, like, let's say I was building an AC in my room, I promise you that AC would be on every day. The whole time. It would never go off.
And that is even, you're even talking about occupancy when you are even staying in it. But right from construction, the cement you are using, water that you are using, all of this contributes greatly to the environment. So we need actually to have a more discussion on this, even have it in our regulations, so that when a project is going on, we can have building inspectors going around checking how these buildings respond to the environment. You go to the mountains up there in Ebri and people are just destroying the landscape over there, cutting, failing. These are all issues that have to be discussed.
Beautiful. This conversation is very interesting. I was like, we're going to talk about building. I hope it's going to be really interesting and fun, but this has been so interesting. And I love how you've really broken down the terminologies and made it very simple to understand. Please, if you are building, take into consideration the wind, before you build, right? So you said something about if you're building and you're building like around the where you are building is close to the water body or the forest, like all of those things, right? But I would ask you, I was going to twist that question, right? And I would ask you, if you were to choose between building by the water body or building in a place like Ebri where there are lots of like mountains. So building by a water body or building in a mountainous area, which one would you choose and why?
water body and forest. Both of them are interesting choices, honestly. I wouldn't mind having my house in any of these locations. But if the way you are pinning me into the wall, I'll go for the water body. Yes, and I'm sure your next question is why. And yes, because if I'm building in the forest, one thing I would not like to do is touch a tree, which I may, if it's a very densely populated place, okay, I may end up touching a tree. As for that one, it may be a necessary evil, which I don't want to, okay. I feel your building must also be able to interact with nature. Because it's a house or your own house doesn't mean that when you come in, you are shut from your surroundings. The building must interact. And I would fancy having a house with large openings, opening up into the river body, seeing what is happening out there, rather than being in the forest where could also give you some very nice.
But you'd have to close
climate.
up more because of insects.
Exactly, but you never know. There are also a certain elements in the water body that can also come out at night and all of that. Yeah, so you really need to protect yourself. But for me personally, if you give me both of if you give me the choice between them, maybe because I've also school is and I guess which is close to the sea. Yeah, maybe I have some kind of affection to water bodies. Yeah, but for me, I'll choose
the water
building
body.
along your water body. Yes, but one thing you also have to know, in fact, both of them, if you are, there's one thing about the environment when it comes to building close to water bodies and your work, any project that deeply affect the environment, the Environmental Protection Authority will come in. You actually may have to acquire an environmental permit for your construction. So for your followers who dream of building along water bodies and all of that, yes, if the regulations are actually being enforced, you will require.
The keyword is actually being enforced, because I was supposed to, do they even enforce it?
Yes, they do. They do, especially in districts and regions where they are actively there. Yes, they will come after you after when you start building, because it is seen that your building will have an impact on the water bodies. You know, and there are fish and all of that in the water. You could also end up polluting the water with your construction. Yeah, so they will come in and make sure that your activities are not disrupting. In fact, they will first of all want to know how you are even going to go about it, so that they will monitor as you build to be sure that your activities are not destroying the environment.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. We've spoken and I've really enjoyed our conversation, right? But you've spoken about the challenges and all, and I know that it's not easy in the area of work that you are, right? With all those challenges, why do you still love doing what you do?
Okay. I told you I love it, eh?
If you don't love it, I don't know why you still be here.
Okay. And it's nice trying to resolve the problem of others. Yes. The clients come in various, let me use the word forms, okay? Some have bought the land, they actually don't even know what they are putting on the land. And sometimes, to mind you are not only building from scratch. Someone could have a house that he intends to renovate or remodel into something else. So the house, for example, those who designed for 8 bedrooms and now have no use for it, want to turn it into a hotel or a guest house.
Yeah.
Okay, they will come to the architect asking the architect to do some remodeling and to renovate it into a new function or a new use. So sometimes that is even more difficult than starting a building from scratch. That one is easy, but when the person comes to you with an existing building and you have to remodel it to suit another purpose, yes, we face all of this, and it's interesting when you are some will say playing God, trying to satisfy the client, and the satisfaction of the client is key. So when the client comes to you, he doesn't know what to do with this building. Okay, and you come in and you're able to move things around. Because what you see, a client may not actually trust you, but there are some clients too that are also technically good. You may also come across them once in a while, yes. But in all of this, you still have the upper edge because you have been to school to study about this, yes. And that is what keeps us going sometimes, yeah.
Nice. So my very final question for you, right, would be if a developer or a first-time builder comes to you that, oh, Mr. Charles, I want to build my house, what would be the one advice you give them?
First of all, cut your quote according to your size. I've said it from the beginning.
Yeah.
First-time developer, you said it. It's key. This is your first building that you want to put up. You don't want. You see, the thing about building is when you put in money, it doesn't come back to you. So you sink $1 million Ghana cedis into your project, and you are not done with the project. Maybe you are renting your house. Where you are staying, you are renting. You intend to build your own house and forget your stubborn landlord and go and stay in your own house. You've gone for a loan from your bank. You've gone to take mortgage. Instead of building something that you can finish early and move in, you do not. You want to blow your mind.
Rooftop swimming pool.
Yeah, the architect also fancifully does all of these things for you. By the time foundation is done, some 200,000, 300,000 is gone. It's not that anybody has spent your money. You yourself, you are seeing the money go. You understand? You start laying blocks, another half of the money is gone. You realize that no, even by the time you have done with your roofing, you have spent all the money, but you can not still move into the building. And you start paying the interest
on
the loan. You still have to pay or still be with your stubborn landlord for some number of years. You cannot move into your own building. So that the building is sitting on site and you're also staying somewhere just because you didn't build something to, let's say, as I said, cut your code according to your size. So my advice to first-time developers is that life always gets better. So if you are starting your very first project, keep it simple. Okay? Build what you can initially. In fact, even if you talk to an architect, the architect can design it for you in such a way that it's expandable so that you can start with 2 bedrooms. When you are ready to do the other phase, you can equally continue the building. As I said, it's design. You design to suit your purpose. But don't start
with your 8 bedrooms.
Yes, everything at the go, and now it's time to. The landlord is chasing you, and you can also go into your building. It's a very big problem. So, for me, it is about the scope of your project, how you have envisaged it to be, and also your pocket. How much can you realistically raise to do this project? If you consult the professionals, sometimes when the clients are coming to the architect, they think that it's only the architect that is going to do the work. So when they give them a bill, they feel it's expensive. But the architect does not work alone. The architect works with engineers. It is good also to have a quantity surveyor, so that the quantity surveyor can tell you the price of what, or the cost of what you are going into. But sometimes they don't want to take this advice. They feel that it's expensive.
To have
all the professionals, yes. But trust me, it's more expensive when you start a building you cannot complete. But by the time you even get money to go back to the project, it may have deteriorated, and you may have to do a lot of things.
Yes, again. I see buildings like that all the time.
Yes. So my advice is get professionals to advise you on your scope. The timelines that you even have is also key, because if you are going for a loan, you cannot pay the loan. You have to pay the loan within a certain period. So why put up a building that will take you so long to put up whilst you are still struggling with and maybe even your salary levels are not that high. Okay, they could even be high, but you have other needs. It's not only a building that you still have school fees to pay. You still have a family to take care of. So we try as much as possible to discuss all of these things with clients at the early stage so that they do not make the mistake struggling to build. And even when they are successful with building, even being able to maintain their buildings.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have so much enjoyed our conversation. I've learned so much. I think one thing I'll put in my vocabulary now is saying brief. One thing I'll put to my vocabulary now is saying brief. So thank you. It's not easy being an architect. You see this book here? It's not easy. Back to back to back. Everything inside your head. It's not easy at all. So I've learned so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Ghana building code, Charlie. And that for me is not easy at all. So it was so much fun speaking with Mr. Charles Emisa Kumsin. And as you know, my name is Akosia Doma. Kindly follow Akwaaba.app on all social media platforms. And you can always send us a DM if you want to make any inquiries about traveling to Ghana. We have the Akwaaba Trip Planner, which makes traveling to Ghana so simple. Where do we find Multibuild if we want to find Multibuild?
Oh, so just social media platforms, we are there. Our website to multibuildlimited.com. You can also find Multibuild there. Yeah, you can come to East Legon to Addis Ababa Street. You can find Multibuild there.
Don't be like my mother that we built our house on the ground, right? And now I'm burning in my bedroom. So come here, come to Multibuild, and you would have very seasoned architects who will walk you through whatever building projects that you're currently working on or you're yet to start. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
and thank you everybody for watching. Have a lovely time till we come your way again. Stay blessed and stay safe. Bye.